So in the last class, we started the identity access management service and we created our first user, right? And the user is the default user. And whenever we create a default user, that user will get no permissions. And what are the two different types of users available on Amazon account? One is a root user account and the one is a IAM user account. The root user account is a account owner and the account will be created at the time of account creation. And AWS recommends not to use the root account for the day-to-day activities. Like let us say the root user will be created. Let us say I'm the employee of the company and I will be like acting as an administrator. So I need full permissions to do all the things, right? Even in that case also, I should not use the root user account. What I have to do is the root user has to be used only for the initial configuration of your Amazon account. By logging in with the root user, I have to create one IAM user account for myself. And as I need the full permissions on my user account, I need to give the permissions using the policies concept. That we will see in the next coming few minutes. And now we will start creating the IAM users. And already we have created one IAM user called a default user. And we tried to log in with that user one. And we found that the user one got no permissions. No permissions means including the read permissions. Even he is unable to see how many users are there or what is the user AWS account information. Everything is not visible to this default user. So now what I do is, let us say a new employee joined in your organization and he is going to work as an administrator for the AWS, like he is working as a solutions architect. So he requires one Amazon IAM user account with full permissions on all services. What is the meaning of a full permissions on all services? Full permission means read, write every permission, and all services means on Amazon, there are n number of services available, right? Out of those, IAM service is one service. If you give all services full permission, the user can do any kind of action on any service available on your AWS account. So now what we do is we will create a user. And this time I will use the username as user2 with full permissions on AWS account. AWS account means whatever the services available on every service, the user will get full permissions. Here, to provide the full permissions, there are three different ways to provide. The first permission is, the first way to apply the permission is attach a policy. The first method is attach a policy. And the second method is add the user to a group. And the third one is copy the permissions from an existing user. So first, let us see the third option. There is one option that we can apply the permissions by copying from an existing user. Do we have any user with full permissions on our Amazon account? We don't have any, but there is a root user, right? Can we copy the permissions from the root user to the IAM user? No, you cannot. Only you can copy from one IAM user to another IAM user. As we don't have any IAM user with the required permissions, at this stage, we cannot use the third option. And the second option is, if you add this user2 to any group and whatever the permissions already applied on that group will be automatically applicable to the user2. Do we have any group with the full permissions? No, we haven't created any group yet. So the only way is we have to use the option called attach a policy. What is the policy? What is a policy? Policy is a document which is written in JSON format, which contains all the permissions required for the user. By default on Amazon platform, we have a lot of policies exist. Almost for all the requirements, you can get a policy. If you are not, what we call that, if that policies doesn't suit your requirement, we can create our own policy also. But for now, what we do is we will use a policy called administrator access. What is the meaning of an administrator? Wherever you hear the word called administrator, it indicates that the permission includes all permissions. Administrator is nothing but the full permissions. So here, what we are going to do is, we are going to create the user 2. And while creating the user 2, we are going to attach the policy directly to the user. And the policy contains full permissions. And the policy name is administrator access. And also, while we are using that policy, I will open the policy and I will show you how the policy looks like. Okay, right. So for that, first we have to log into our Amazon account as a root user. How to identify with which user I logged into the Amazon account? On the top right corner, if you see your account name, that is nothing but you logged in as a root user. If you log in with the IAM user, you can see the username @account ID or account alias. So here I logged in as a root user. And how to create the user? To create the user, first you have to open the service called Identity Access Management. And the Identity Access Management service can be opened through the services. And somewhere here you can see security, identity, and compliance. And here you can see the IAM. But initially it will be a little bit difficult to remember in which module that IAM service is available. For that reason, we have an easy method. Like in the search box, you can type the service name, IAM. So it will give you the list of services related to the IAM, and you can click on that IAM. So it will take you to the dashboard of the IAM service. Already we have one user exist in our Amazon account, which is the users 1, which doesn't have any permissions. Now, once you reach this page, to create any new user, on the left side under access management, click on the users. And here you can see the list of IAM users available on your account, and you cannot see the root user name in this particular list because it only display the IAM users only. Once you click on the users, click on add users. Click on add users. And here you have to enter the username. Type the username as user2. And we know that every user can get 2 different types of access. One is a programmatic access and the other one is management console access. What is the programmatic access means? With the programmatic access, the user cannot log into the Amazon account using the browser. The user can log into the Amazon account using CLI, SDK, or API. That also we will see how to create the programmatic access type of a user and how to log in. And for now, we are creating all the users with management console access. What is the management console access? The user will get the combination of username and password, and the user can log into the Amazon account using the browser. Any browser they can use. And once you select the management console access, you have to select a password for the user. And there are 2 different ways to assign a password to the user. One is an automatically generated password. We call it as auto-generated password. And the second one is a custom password. What is the meaning of a custom password? As I am creating the user, I can assign a password for you. And while you are assigning a password, you have to follow the password policy. And if you remember, in our first session, we created one password policy with minimum 12 characters, uppercase, lowercase, number, and special character. Okay, let me use a password here. And what will happen if I select this checkbox? User must create a new password at next sign. What will happen if I select this checkbox? Whenever the user 2 log in for the very next time, he will be forced to change the password. If I uncheck this box, then there is no mandate that the user has to change the password. If he wish to change the password, he can, or he can use the same password, whatever I am going to provide. So now here, click on next. Wait a second. Then click on next. So this is the place where you have to apply the permission to the user. And here you can see there are three different options. One is the add user to group. Unfortunately, we don't have any groups here. And copy permissions from existing user. We have only one user called user1. If I select this, whatever the permissions already available for the user1, those permissions will be applicable to the user2. That means no permissions will be applied to the user2. So now here we have to click on attach existing policies. Attach existing policies directly. And these are the list of policies available on AWS platform by default. These are the policies created and managed by AWS. Amazon will maintain all these policies. And here you can see the first policy. What is the name of the first policy? Administrator access. What might be the administrator access means? He will get full permissions, right? Okay. So we have to select this checkbox so that the administrator access policy will be applied to the user too. Before attaching that policy, let us see how the policy looks like. So here you can see an arrow mark, right? A simple arrow mark. Click on that arrow so that the policy will be open. And there is one tab called JSON, right? Click on the JSON. And this is the policy. This is how the policy looks like. What is the meaning of that policy? So only this block contains the permissions. So here, what is the first statement? Effect is allow. That means this policy is going to allow what kind of action here? What is the meaning of a star? Star indicates all. So this policy will allow all actions, and resource is a star. Resource means the services. In a simple terms, you can say that this policy will allow all the actions on all services by the user who is going to attach with this particular policy. Let us say if I apply this policy to the user1, user1 will be allowed to perform all actions on all services. JSON, this is a JSON document, very easy to understand. Like easily we can understand what was written there. It's a simple, a kind of a statements written in English. There is no nothing programming like Java, .NET, some kind of a thing. It's a simple script, easy to understand. Now here, yes, there's a default one. Like whenever you go for any kind of what we call that, any kind of a scripting, they will mention a version. That means this script is running based on this version. That was the latest version. Okay. Whatever the codes you are writing, that code will run using this version. That's the default one. That won't change. If you modify any of the version here, this script will not work. Okay, once you select the required policy, then click on next, where you can attach some tags to the user. What is the tag? Tag is for identification purpose, right? So here what I do is I can use a key called role and administrator. So this user is going to act as an administrator, and I can say a location Hyderabad. So by using these tags, easily we can identify the details about the user. Maximum you can create 50 tags per user. So after filling all the required tags here, click on next. Here you can review what all options you have selected, and you can click on create user. Once you click on create user, now it is not displaying you the password. Why? Amazon only display the password if that is auto-generated. While creating the user 2, I assign the password, so I know what is the password. So what I do is I will share the username and password with the user, and the user can log into the Amazon account as an IAM user called user 2. So the user can log in using this URL, which is called as IAM sign-in link. This URL is unique for each and every AWS account. So here, what is this 016 funny 016? That was account alias, which we created in the last session. By default, you can see the account ID here. Account ID, which is a little bit difficult to remember, so that we can customize that account ID with the name. We call it as an alias. Alias means alternative name. Okay, so now you can generally, whenever you create the user account, we have to share this URL, username, and password with the user. Now, how the user can log in? So we created user2, right, with full permission. Now we need to verify that the user2 got the full permissions on all services or not. How can we confirm? We have to log in as a user2, and we need to create something on multiple services. But we don't know other services, right? So randomly we will go to one service and we will try something randomly. If we were able to create or delete something, then we can say that we were able to create and delete. So as part of this verification process, I have to log in as a user2. While logging in as a user2, I will create a new user. If the user2 is able to create a new user, then we can say that the user2 have permissions to write something on IAM service, right? In the same way, we will check on one more service, anything, and we can confirm that the user2 got full permissions on all services of your AWS account. So now first thing what we do is log in as a user2 for verification that the user2 got the full permissions. So generally, how to log in? I have to log out from this root user, right? And then I can log in. Instead of logging out as a root user, what I do is I will open a different browser. I will open a different browser and I will log in as user2 using this Microsoft Edge. Because in a single browser, we cannot log in as a multiple users to the same application. Okay, so use the aws.amazon.com and click on sign into the console. And if you observe, I am not using the IAM user sign in link. So you will get into this page. So here you have to enter the account ID or account alias. Anybody remember the account ID? No, it is a little bit difficult, right? So what I do is I will enter the account alias, which we have created alternate name for our account ID. Let me use the username and let me enter the password. And as I uncheck the checkbox of force user password reset, it will not force the user to change the password. So with which user I logged in? User2 on funny016 account. Okay. So how can we confirm that the user2 is an administrator? If he is able to do something on any account, then we can say, right? Already we know how to create the user and all the things. So that's why what I do is I will create another user called user3 with read only permission on AWS account. What is the meaning of that? The user3 can log in and the user3 can read all the information, but he cannot write or he cannot delete the data. If the user2 is unable to create the user3, then we can say that the user2 didn't get the required permissions. If the user2 is able to create the user successfully, then we can say that the user2 got full permissions on your AWS account. That's what we are going to check. So here already I logged in as user2, right? So let us navigate to IAM service. Search IAM in the search box and click on the service called IAM. we are logging in as an IAM user only. User 1, user 2, every user is an IAM user. Here, if you see user 2 at the funny 016, that means I logged in as an IAM user. Okay, right. So now I log in as a user 2, and now I have to create a new user called user 3. So the process will be the same, but the requirement is different, right? The user 3 should get only the read-only permission. So we have to use a different policy. Click on add user. Click on add users. And the username will be user 3. I will select the management console access. I will select the password. So this is the place the option or the process will be modified. Select attach existing policy, and we have to select the policy which will provide only read access, not the write access, right? So in the search box, just type read. And if you scroll down, wait a second, it is loading. Yeah. If you scroll down, you can find out an option called read only access or read only administrator. Here it is. Read only access. There is no space. If you type read or if you type read space only, you might not be able to find out this policy. Just type read and click enter. You can get the different read only policies. You can see there is one policy, right? What is this? What might be the permissions provided by that policy? It will give read only access on IAM service. He cannot view any other service. Okay, but our requirement is read only access on all services, right? That's why you have to select the read only access. Select the checkbox against the policy called read only access. Click on next. As the tags are optional, I will ignore the tags option here and I can go with the next. Click on create user. If the user got successful, the user 3 got created successfully, right? So can we say that the user 2 got full permissions? How can we say? Because there might be a chance that he got permissions on IAM service only, right? So what I do is I will go to one more service. We don't know what that service is because we haven't discussed it yet. I will go to the service called EC2 just to check that the user 2 is able to manage some other services also. We cannot confirm that the user 2 got full access by checking a single service. Okay, go there and you can see there are a lot of things, right? That means he can read the data. I will go to something called security groups, but we don't know what it is. If I try to delete something, and if it got succeeded, then we can say that the user 2 is able to delete the data from the second service also. Here you can see that got deleted, right? Or you can try with creating also. If the user 2 is able to manage that, at least he got multiple permissions on multiple services. So we can confirm that the user 2 got full permissions because we cannot check each and every service, right? At least we have to check 2 different services. So the user 2 is an administrator or the user 2 got the full access. And this user 2 created a new user called user 3, right? And what are the possible permissions for the user 3? Read only permission. To check that, I will log in as user 3. I logged out as a user 2. And now I am logging in as user 3 to check that the user 3 got read only permission or not. So here we have to give the account alias, username, password. So now I am logging in as user 3. First, what I do is I will go to IAM service. I will go to IAM service. I will try to read the data. At the same time, we have to make sure that the user 3 cannot delete or cannot create the new users. So now is he able to see the data? Yes. Let me go to the users and he can see the list of all users. So by seeing this, we can confirm that the user got a read permission. But still we cannot confirm that that is a read only. When can we say that? If he cannot create a new user, or if he is unable to delete an existing user, then we can say that he got read only permission. Select any user and try to delete. And here, to confirm the deletion of the user, it will ask you to type the delete user, type user1. Username you have to type. Click on delete. And what happened? User1 not deleted and is not authorized to perform the delete login profile. The user3 is not authorized to delete any user. So we can say that on this service, the user3 got read only permission only. At the same time, I will check on a different service also, because at least we have to check on two different services. Go to EC2, what we have done earlier. And is he able to read the data? Yes, he's able to read. Let me go to some security groups. We don't know what the security group means, but go there and click on actions and try to delete. What is the status? Will not be deleted because, okay, there's a different case. Wait a second. I think that's not the one I have to check. Let me delete this one. Delete security group. It is asking you for the confirmation, right? Click on delete. Fail to delete the security group because the user doesn't have the permission. Even you can try to create a new thing also. Let me type something called test1. Just give some name and try to click on create security group. There was an error creating your security group. And here you can see you are not authorized to perform this operation because the user3 got just a read only permission on the entire AWS account. Can we provide read only permission on a single service? What I do is I have a requirement that I would like to create a user called user4, and I would like to give the read permission on IAM service only. Read permission on single service called IAM service. Let me write down, create a user and let me name it as user4 and provide read only access on IAM service only. What is the meaning of that? The user4 can view the data on IAM service and not on any other service. He cannot view the data on any other service. In the same way, we can give the full permissions on a single service also. Like you can select that the user5 should be get full permission on EC2 service. Just you have to find out the appropriate policy and you have to assign that policy. In the next step, we will create that also. Okay, right. So let us do this. This time, what I do is instead of directly attaching the policy, I will use a different way, that creating a group concept. Creating a group. So here, create a group and let me name it as IAM read only access. The group name will be IAM read only access and attach IAM read only permission to the group. So what will happen in this case? Whoever the user present in that particular group will get the IAM read only access. And after this, create user4 and add to the above created group. Or we can say this group. So what we are doing here is just we are creating one group. This will be the group, right? And here we are attaching a policy, read only policy of IAM service. And whenever you create a user and if you add him, he will be applied with this policy automatically. Let us say if you add the user one, what already the user one is an existing user, right? If I add the existing user to this group, this user one will get the read-only permission on IAM service. Can we add multiple policies to a group? Yes, you can. Because sometimes this single user might require different types of a permission. Read-only permission on IAM, full permission on EC2, or a read-only permission on S3 like that, right? In that case, you can apply multiple policies to a group, or even you can apply multiple policies to the users also. A single user, you can apply multiple policies. Okay, right. So now we will go with the creation of the group. What is the first step? We have to create a group, and this will be the name of the group. This will be the name of the group, and we are going to apply a policy which provide read-only access on IAM service. Then we will create the user 4 and we will add that user 4 to this particular group. So user 4 will get read-only permission on IAM service. So let me open my Amazon account and let us navigate to the service called IAM. So before creating the user, first step will be creating the group. And on that group, we have to attach the policy. On the left side, you can see the first option as user groups. Click on user groups under access management. And you can see there are no groups available as of now. Click on create group. Group name. What is the group name we decided? Yeah, IAM read only access. This will be the name of the group. Would you like to add any existing user to the group? No, I don't want to add now. Later I can add. So don't add any users because this is an optional. You can add a user or you can ignore them. Scroll down and this is the place where you have to attach a policy to the group. Can we create a group without a policy? Yes, you can, but there is no use of if there is no policy, then no permissions will be applied to the users. Okay, so here what I do is I will type IAM and it will show the list of policies contains the IAM in the policy name. So out of all these, this is my required permission, right? IAM read only access, which will give read only access on IAM service. So here just scroll down and click on create group. The group got created with read only permission on IAM service. If you add any user into that group, the user will get read only permission on IAM service. Okay, so now let us go with the creation of the user 4. This part we are going to do. While creating the user, we are going to add that user into the group. Okay, right. So now let me go to our Amazon account. So here click on users under access management. Click on add users. Click on add users. And the username will be user 4 and select the console access type. Select the custom password or auto-generated password, that doesn't matter. So here we have to select the add user to group and select this particular group. Now, can a user be a part of multiple groups? Can we add a single user to the multiple groups? Yes, you can. Yes, you can add a single user to multiple groups. Okay, then just click on next, next, and create user. The user 4 got created with a read-only permission on IAM service only. How to verify that? Log in as user 4. Let me log out as user 3 and let me log in as user 4. And then we will try to perform some actions on IAM. We will make sure that the user 4 can read the data, and I can log into one more service called EC2, and we should make sure that the user cannot read any data on EC2 service, because we provided the permissions only with read permission or read access on IAM service. Let me log in with user 4. So I logged in as user 4. You can see that user 4 @ my name. And first, let me go to the IAM service. Go to IAM service, and he can read all the data, right? You can see that user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4. Let me try to delete one existing user just to make sure that he cannot do that. So we can say that the user 4 got read only permission on IAM, and at the same time, we have to make sure that he cannot read the data from any other service. So for that reason, I will go to the service called EC2, or any service you can, that doesn't matter. And when you switch to a different service, he should get some error here. He cannot see how many instances are there, how many security groups are there. Even he cannot read the data. What is the message? You are not authorized to perform this operation. Actually, there are like 10 or 8 or 9 entries exist, but he cannot see. So you can create the users with different use cases that depends on your requirement. So mostly tomorrow, I will give you some kind of assignment kind of a thing, like create user with different types of permissions. So that will be helpful for your practice. Okay. And here, what is the other way of assigning the permission? What is the other way? Or what are the different ways that we can apply the permission to the users? Let us say you are creating one user, and you have a you will be asked that so and so user 5 should get full permissions on the AWS account. How can you provide the full permissions to user 5? Like by attaching a policy, or by adding the user to a group. And what is the third option? We can copy the permissions from an existing user. We can copy the permissions from an existing user. As of now, we created different users. Let us say this is the user 2, which already we created. What we have done, we attach the policy called administrator access, right? This is the one way. And the second way is we created one group, right? We created one group, and we attached the policy to the group, and we added a user into this group. This is one way, right? And now I'm talking about the third method. Let us say I'm going to create user 5 with full permissions. How can we create that? Using the third option is by copying the permissions from an existing user. These are the 3 different methods that you can apply the permissions to the users. Already we have seen the first method, we have seen the second method, and now we are going to check the third method. Okay, right. So here, let me go to our Amazon account. And what we are going to do is create a user called user 5 with full permissions on AWS account by copying the permissions from user 2, because already the user 2 is having the full permissions, right? So how the full permissions were applied to the user 2? We attached administrator access policy. So automatically the user 5 will be attached with the same policy attached to the user 2. That we will see. So here is our Amazon account, and navigate to the service called IAM, Identity Access Management. Then click on users, click on add. Everything will be the same. The only difference is in the permissions page. In the permissions page. So here the username will be user5. Select the management console access and let me assign a password. Click on next permissions. This time I will select this one. Copy permissions from existing user. And if I select the user 2, the same policy will be automatically applied. You can see that what are the policies applied to the user 2. And for user 4, there is no direct policy attached, but the user 4 is a part of some group. If I select user 4, then the user 5 will be automatically added to this group. Can I copy the permissions from multiple users? Can I copy the permissions from multiple users? No, you cannot. If I select user 4, the user 2 will be gone. If I select user 4, the user 5 will be added to this group, right? But I would like to copy the permissions from both user 2 and user 4. Group is a different concept. My question is, can I copy the permissions from multiple users at a time? Simple thing. If you can see the radio button, you have to select a single option. If you can see the checkbox, then they will allow you to select multiple options at a time. If you recollect, at the time of attaching the policy, you can see the checkboxes, right? Not the radio button. Checkboxes means it will allow you to select multiple policies at the time of a creation. Okay, right. So now let me select the user 2 so that this policy or whatever the policies already applied on user 2 will be applied to the newly created user. Now I'm creating the user 5, and I can say that the user 5 got applied with the administrator access policy. Now, how can we verify without logging in? So I am the root user or you are an administrator. So someone asked you that what are the permissions applied to the user 5? How to check that? With now the requirement is check the permissions apply to the user 5. I would like to see what all permissions already given to the user 5, because every yearly once they will do the review. Is there any unnecessary permissions applied to a user? Not yearly, I think they do quarterly. Every 3 months they will do all these kind of verifications along with the user access review, backup reviews, everything they will do in the organizations. So here, how to check what are the permissions applied to the user 5? To check that, go to the users and click on the username. Click on the username so that you can see the details about the user 5. So here there are a lot of tabs, right? In the first tab is the permissions. What is the policy attached? Administrator policy attached. And if you click on groups, you can see that in which group the user 5 is a part. If the user 5 is already joined in any group, that will be displayed here. And if you click on tags, you can see what all tags already applied on this particular user. Okay, so now I will go to one more user. We don't have a user seek. Like let me select the user 4. If I click on user 4, what we can see in the permissions, I am read-only access, and at the same time, the policy is not directly attached. You can see that this policy is attached from the group. And if you click on the groups tab, you can see that the user 2 is a part of this particular group, and the group is attached with this permission. And what is this access advisor means? If you click on that access advisor, you can see when that user 2 used what services. What he did? Today, he logged into the identity and access management service using this particular policy. So you can check that what all services are using by the user and on which date the user is using all these services. There is some use case for the access advisor. Let us say you have provided full permissions to one user, or you provided full permissions on 10 services. From the last 10 months, the user is only using 2 services. He never opened any other 8 services. So does it require to provide the permissions on 10 services? If any user is not opened any service for 10 months, that means he don't require that particular access. So by using this access advisor, we can review the permissions for the user. We can remove the unnecessary permissions and all the things. And coming to the security credentials, this tab we can discuss in the next session at the time of like creating the programmatic access or resetting the password or disabling the user. For all these things you can get in this security credentials page. And tomorrow what we do is we will create the programmatic access type of a user and we will check how to log in, and then we will create one more user with both type of access. Let us say user 11, he will get full access using console access and programmatic access, and we will review how to log in and how they will work. And after that I will give you some kind of assignment kind of a thing, whatever we have not seen now. So you have to figure out which policy to be used and how to use it, so that over the weekend on Sunday you can do that kind of a thing. And if you have any questions, you can ask me on Monday. Tomorrow also we do have a session and we can complete that programmatic access part. Okay, right. So now on this IAM, are you guys clear or any questions? What do you mean? What kind of wrong? What do you mean by something went wrong? Account? What do you mean by goes wrong? Like accidental deletion of a user? That's why Amazon never recommends to use the root user for day-to-day activities. Not only the root user, let us say we have a user 2, right? User 2 with full permissions. What if the user 2 can delete? User 2 can delete the user also, right? So that we have to be careful. We cannot restrict that, right? Because they need the permission of creation and deletion. That's why we will provide. I think I can take your question such a way that what if the root user deleted the AWS account accidentally? So that's why we never use the root user. And a normal IAM user, even with full permissions, they cannot delete the root user. They cannot delete the AWS account. AWS account can be deleted by only the root user. No other user with full permissions cannot manage your AWS account. Only they can utilize the services. They cannot delete the AWS account. Okay, any other questions? Okay, if you are clear, you can leave. If you have any questions, you can wait and you can ask me. And we can continue with the remaining practicals on IAM in the tomorrow's session. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. We'll continue tomorrow. Selected the metric, and then what we call that threshold. Yes. So on the left, you have to go to CloudWatch service. Okay, before that, you have to go to link preferences and you have to enable the checkbox. Otherwise, you cannot see it. You have to enable the checkbox. Go to IAM dashboard. On dashboard, right side, you can see the only one. Yes. And don't change any of these things. Static data. Here you can select something. You're getting any error, just take the screenshot of the which one? That you can check with the Rajesh because even I don't have any access for that. Yes, you can unmute yourself and you can ask the questions, guys. I will allow one by one.
Yeah. Hi, this is Vinita.
Yes.
Yesterday we read one term is resource. So what is that?
Which one? Resource. Resource
Yeah.
is nothing but this IAM is a service, right?
Yeah.
So in this IAM service, we have a multiple resources like users is resource, groups is resource. These all are the resources.
Okay. So under this IAM user, the rest of the objects are resources.
Right. Not only the IAM, you can take any service. The rest of the features are called as a resource. Let us say if you
Okay.
go for S3 storage, every bucket is called as a resource. If you go to EC2, every server is called as a resource.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Pavan Mishra.
Yeah, hi,
Yeah,
this
hi.
is Pawan.
Mhm.
So actually, I have a question regarding the integration of IAM with Active Directory database.
Okay.
So on an enterprise level, when we are connecting user database with IAM, how is it possible in AWS? If you can.
AWS also that federation service is there. By using
Okay.
the federation service, nowadays everyone is integrating. Almost like all the MNCs, big companies are using their Active Directory with the IAM. Like they can
Okay.
use the Azure AD is there, right? They will use the
Mhm.
Azure AD for that. What do you call that? AWS integration.
Okay. So is it a feature of IAM or
Yes, feature of
okay,
IAM.
IAM,
Yeah.
and it comes under programmatic console access or how
No,
we?
there's not a programmatic access console. There's a regular one only. Like somewhere you can see identity providers. So here you need to add the provider, which is Active Directory, by using which they can do the single sign-on.
Okay. So through SSO, the integration will
All right.
happen. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. And regarding this user creation, I was literally worried about the packages we have. So if we are creating users on AWS and
Okay.
we are just experimenting with it, so is it going to charge? I mean,
No, actually, sorry, I forgot to mention that all
yeah.
the users, groups, policies, whatever we are going to create, they are free.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Then
Anyways, thanks for reminding me. Just I will mention that in the tomorrow's session. Generally, what
sure.
I do is whatever the services are chargeable, I used to
Hmm.
mention only those services. But anyways, the IAM users is a free,
Okay.
and
Sure.
maximum you can create 5,000 users. That is the limit. Maximum number of users is a 5,000.
5,000
Yeah.
euros. Okay. 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 Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, Rajendra, you can unmute and you can ask the question.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hello.
So this is Rajendra. I'm from Karnataka.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Basically, I've been very new to this particular course,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm working as a lecturer in one of the engineering college in Karnataka.
Okay.
I've completed my engineering and MTech as well, sir.
Okay.
So I've just attended your this. I mean, out of this 9 classes, I guess I've just attended 3 classes from maybe on Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
I'm just trying to understand. Like you're clear with crystal clear with the concepts, sir, but I just wanted to know by doing the course content, whatever you're providing right now,
Mm-hmm.
will that be helpful for getting a job? I mean, if you're looking for
Yes, by attending this course, I can assure you that you will get the knowledge of like 2 to 3 years of experience candidate.
okay, sir.
Okay. Whatever the
And
practicals we do, that will be
Mhm.
helpful for getting a job up to 3 years. Like you can consider yourself as a 3 years experience guy.
Okay, no, I have your good background about you. I got to know from somebody, so I have uh, thought of taking the class. So
Mhm.
I'm just worried about the concern that like if I complete this course and if I am not able to get through, or I mean, any placement will be taken care from your
I
end,
think
sir.
yes, like from my end of the sense, from Naresh IT, they are going to provide the placements. They do have a separate placement cell.
Okay, sir.
So for that, you will get the more details if you call the main office, right? Or you can contact your. I think in the chat also they will provide your administrator number, right? Batch admin
Yes,
number, Suresh. Yeah,
yes, sir.
you can call him and just you can take the number of the placement cell team so that you can
Mhm.
check with them and you can get all the details, whatever you need.
Okay, sir. And
Okay.
like, sir, one more last question. As
Mhm.
like I'm having an experience of 5 to 6 years in teaching,
Okay.
and if I come back to this IT sector,
Mhm.
will I be considered as a fresher and a fresher?
Uh, That depends. Like frankly speaking, yes, you will be considered as a fresher, but sometimes you
Yes, sir.
might be, you will get like, even you are a fresher, you will not get a package as a fresher because already you have some experience on different field. But don't
Okay.
expect that you will get a package like 5 years or 6 years experience with that.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Fine. And what do you think? Like, I mean, will it be handled by any non-IT branch candidate?
Yes, because I came from like triple E in my graduation.
Okay, sir. Nice. Nice. Yes, sir. I'm from the same branch, actually. I'm from
Okay.
AAA department.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, then.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you
Let
very
me
much.
go for the other people. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please. You can unmute and you can ask the question. B Sai Sri Priya. Okay. Anybody else having any questions?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, sir. Hello. Hello.
Yes,
Hello,
please.
sir.
Yes, please go ahead. I can hear your voice. Okay. Next person. Please unmute and just you can ask the question.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Hi.
Sir, for different regions, there are AWS cost are charges are varied or same.
Sorry. Come again. Various.
Uh, Various regions, sir, like
Yeah.
Mumbai,
Yeah.
Asia,
There are some slight difference. Slight difference
slight
in the charge.
difference.
Yeah. Slight difference. You can observe that. It's like one
Okay.
server. If you create the same size of server in two regions, you might get some few cents of difference per hour. Like that 0.00 something will be there.
Okay. Sir, hello.
Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Sir, I'm not talking to fluent in English, sir, so I can
That's okay.
ask
No
question
issues.
in
Yeah.
Hindi.
Yeah, you can ask in Hindi. I can understand, but I cannot speak in Hindi.
No,
Okay, I can
okay, I
understand your
understand,
question.
sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, you can ask the question in Hindi. Yeah.
So I can ask in Hindi, sir.
Yes, you can.
सर आई एम मैं BCS पास आउट हूँ 2020 बैच के लिए
Okay.
तो सर कंपनी में इंजीनियरिंग नॉन इंजीनियरिंग के लिए ये मींस सर एज अ फ्रेशर हम अप्लाई कर सकते हैं क्या क्योंकि बहुत
Yes,
से
you can.
कंपनी
You
के लिए
can. You can
हाँ
apply even from a non-IT background.
नो सर आई हैव बैचलर ऑफ कंप्यूटर साइंस बट इंजीनियरिंग डिग्री नहीं
That doesn't matter. At least you are
दैट
from the
डजंट
computers, right? That doesn't matter. That's not a
यस
problem. Okay. But always you have to get some good technical skills, some understanding about the concepts, and also
ओके
you need to have some at least like a basic to intermediate level communication. Communication doesn't mean like high level English. Okay. A
ओके
simple English is enough, but that should be easily understandable. Good communication. Okay.
ओके सर आई एम लर्निंग
Yeah, that because anything cannot be done in a single day, right? Just if you start now, like in the next couple of months or so, you will get some good thing, right?
yes sir and sir company has required global certification for job sir
That depends. I don't say like that is a mandatory, but if you have that, that will be advantage.
okay sir so we cover sir solution architect course na
Yes, solutions architect associate level.
okay sir
Yes, you can unmute and just you can ask the question.
Hi, sir. I'm Jyoti.
Yeah, hi.
Sir, why you selected Northern Virginia as a region? Because we
You
are
can
in India.
right. You can select any region. The reason behind why I selected Northern Virginia, I mean, for the first thing, for identity access management, there is no region. If you go to identity
Okay.
access management, there is no region specific. But always I prefer to use Northern Virginia because that is the first region on Amazon platform. And whatever the services available in the AWS, first they will be available in Northern Virginia. Later, they will be available in the other regions. Always for learning purpose, I will use the Northern Virginia. But in the if you go for office, you have to follow as per their requirements. You have to select Northern Virginia or Mumbai, depending on the requirement.
Thank you.
Okay. And wait a second. Yes, you can unmute now, and just you can. Yeah, you have to raise your hand so that I will allow you to unmute yourself. Just raise your hand so that I can unmute you.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, please.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please go ahead.
Sir, నేను తెలుగులో మాట్లాడొచ్చు.
Yeah, please.
Sir, my graduation completed in 2020 in electronic communication.
2020.
20
Okay, just recently. Okay.
electronic communication background.
Okay.
And if fresher గా survey అవ్వచ్చు.
That's not a problem actually. Electronics, like I'm from the electrical background. Okay, so I'm from electrical and electronics, so that doesn't matter from which background you are. Okay, so always you have to learn the concepts in detail. So based on your technical skills only, you will get a job, not based on your like a graduation background or something. Okay.
Okay, just one more doubt. అంటే root account
Your voice is not clear.
root account అని కన్సోల్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ కన్సోల్ కి చెప్పారు కదా.
Yes.
ఆ అకౌంట్ కాటలేదు సార్, ఎన్ని అంటే కార్ట్ ఇచ్చినా కానీ కాటలేదు, అందుకని అది ఎలా చేయాలి?
Okay, just
అర్థమైంది.
okay, to create no, your voice is not audible. If you don't mind, could you please use the chat box for your question?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Yes, Prakar, you can unmute and you can ask the question.
Yeah, hello, sir. Yeah. Sir, I'm having two questions. Like, first one is like, if suppose root user has created another user with full access.
Okay.
And so, isn't a replacement like now there will be no use of root user? The another user who is having full access can create as much as new users who are having full access also.
Right. They can create as many as, but there are some restrictions. Account management they cannot do.
Okay.
Root user only can do some specific tasks, but regular activities, any user with full permissions, they can do.
Okay. And so my second question is like, if suppose a user has created the admin user has created a new user and provided two groups, two roles. Like first one is like full access, and second one is like read only to IAM access.
Okay.
Then isn't it a conflict situation, sir?
No, not a conflict. Let us say I gave you like one master key which can open all the 10 rooms in a building.
Okay.
And I gave you one more key which will open only 2 rooms in the room. So how many rooms you can enter?
All.
Same thing.
So it's so there will be no use of all other
no use. If you apply the full permissions, there is no use of all other permissions.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, then thank you everyone. We'll continue tomorrow. And if you have any questions, like you guys can come up with your questions in the tomorrow session also. Okay, right. Thank you, everyone. We'll continue tomorrow, and we will take up the questions if you have any. Yes, Shiv Kumar. Yes. Yes, you can unmute.
Yeah, okay, sir. Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks a lot.
I see your you like got it. So that's why I thought your question got clear.
No, no.
Okay.
Actually, sir, what actually today I just got to know. Okay, so I joined this session today. Okay,
Okay.
and so it is good to join continue this session, or do you want me to suggest another session? Because what I
Like
feel.
for the last few sessions, you will get a recorded videos. Mostly by tomorrow morning, you will get an email.
Okay.
Whatever the classes you missed, go through the videos, because this is the first topic on AWS, and this is not dependent on any other services.
Okay.
So if you are comfortable with the timings, you can continue.
Okay,
You didn't miss any important things or something. And anyways, you are getting the recorded videos of the previous classes what you missed. So that will go through that. If you feel you are unable to understand that, then what we call that you can go for the other batch.
Okay, okay. Okay, sir. So actually, I am a working employee, so I have almost 8-year experience.
Okay.
So
On which technology?
So I am Java with microservice currently.
Java with microservices. Okay.
Yes. So actually, I want to it means I want to move my career to AWS, because it's market everywhere is AWS, is a cloud computing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that the region. So its timing is good for me, right? 6 p.m. to 7:30.
7:30. Yeah.
So and how many batch is over, sir?
How many?
Batch is already over.
You mean like
classes
yes, like
yes.
It's about like 6 or so, like, because the first few classes will be a demo.
Okay.
And actual topics are like 2 classes were missed. Like one is IAM topic, and the before one like AWS introduction.
Okay, so
just go through the videos, whatever you are about to receive, go through the
Okay.
videos.
Okay.
If you have any questions, like in the tomorrow session, you can what we call that, like okay.
Yeah. So, sir, this it is Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday?
It's a Monday to Saturday.
Okay, and 45 days course duration, right?
It will take 60 days.
It will take 60 days.
Yes.
Okay.
45, it will be a little bit difficult.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not an issue for me, right? Just so I just want to preparation for exam. So this batch is good for that, right?
All right.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your answer. Okay, I'll check with to get all recorded video.
Sure.
And we'll try to continue from the tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
sir.
Thank you, everyone.